everyone, and welcome to D&D Fireside Chat.
Oh, I need to absolutely bring that up. There we go. Now
Hello.
the stream info's updated.
Oh, fair enough.
Much better now.
Hi, everybody.
How's everybody doing? Life is good.
Life is good.
All
Oh,
two people so far.
all two people. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, I like it. Dungeon Master, Dungeon Master. I just
Right?
see the overlay now. That's good.
Yeah.
It's kind
So
of funny because I think, oh, and we're kind of looking at each other with the way how it is. Okay, yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
You know, I have made a grievous mistake
Oh no.
in that I sat down, I got all set up, everything's perfect, and I don't have a beer in my hand. So uno momento.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm just going to fill this void with interesting facts about pens. Pens are very interesting. And okay, good. James is back. Whew. Don't have to talk about
Much
pens
better.
anymore.
Yeah. It'll be all right. It'll be
Yeah,
okay.
that's good.
I
Ah,
do you have a beverage of choice tonight, Riley?
tonight I actually, you know what? This is going to be a bit of a weird one. But this is one that I've been having to try because, again, being part of the alcohol industry, etc.
What's that? Is that a last best?
It is a last best. It's a last best. It's called the Ocho, which
Sour
is
hazy.
sour hazy beer, which is going to be very interesting. So, Moosehead,
Good old
the
Moosehead.
classic.
I bought a
They're an
lot of
interesting
it,
company. Yeah,
and you know what? Moosehead makes pretty reasonable middle of the road beer. Like
there's nothing special about it, but hey, it's a clean lager.
it is. I attribute Moosehead to like uh kokanee. Kokanee is
Hmm.
nobody's favorite beer. Like my I grew up around Creston. My grandparents
Hmm.
lived out there.
Hmm.
Kokanee's nobody's favorite beer, but
No.
you show up to a party with 12-pack of Kokanee, people are gonna drink it,
Oh, 100%,
right?
because it's there. It's
Well,
you're drinking the beer that's there.
that too, yeah. But it's just it's good middle of the road beer. Nobody
Yeah.
objects to Kokanee. There are people that
Nobody.
hate Budweiser. There are people that hate Molson Canadian.
Well, I mean, there's good reasons for it, but I mean, I'm not gonna get into it right now
Yeah.
because we're talking about D&D tonight.
See, that's fair. Yeah. It's hard to talk about D&D without touching on beer though, because it's kind of on
It
brand.
you know what? There is a sense of it that is on brand. You always start in a tavern. You always have somebody talking about mead or something like that because everybody thinks that mead is olden time beer. Uh,
It's
anyway,
not, but yeah.
it's not.
You know, so one of our viewers,
Mm,
Balthazar the Mad,
yes.
one of our subscribers, makes some really bitchin' mead.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
It's such an like it's easy in the sense that all you need is honey, water, and yeast to make mead, basically.
Unless
And
you wanna,
technically,
throw a handful of cloves into it.
no, exactly. Like again, making it your own is part of what the fun thing is mead. I actually am on a subreddit that just posts people making different types of meads, and I just get like cool, fun updates about meads every day.
The last batch that he put through,
Mhm.
um so you have to be very precise with brewing anything
Yes.
and very clean with everything.
Cleanliness is next to godliness in, the
It's
beer terms
because it's
100%.
yeah. So, he was telling me a story where, he went in and he's like, "Alright, this is good, but, it needs some spice." So he went to the kitchen and he grabbed a fistful of, like, cloves and other accoutrement with his bare hands. And he's like, 2 weeks later, when everything was rotten inside, I should
Yep.
realize that.
Yep.
But
It's there's so many things, And it's funny too because I mean, you take a look at like brewing and the brewers and all that kind of stuff, and when they're throwing hops in, there's just a hop bucket. Yeah, and that's what the hops do. And it's definitely not 100% a clean bucket, but
Mhm.
it's fine because it's during the boil. Depending on when you're doing and adding things is
Yeah.
important. But anyway.
Interesting sort of like medieval tangent because we're
Mm,
talking about old-timey mead in taverns and stuff.
yes.
Um Cheesemakers historically were always women. Men were not allowed into cheese houses.
Really?
Men were dirty bastards, and the majority of cheese houses were run by midwives.
Interesting.
And because washing their hands constantly, it was a constant thing of cleanliness, and if you don't have cleanliness with cheese, and it
You get the
started off as this
bacteria.
superstitious thing where elderly, matronly sort of women that knew a bunch about childbirth and also made the best cheese and didn't have curses laid upon them where their cheese would spoil.
Again, you think back to the facts of it all and everything like that, and it's just like, how the hell did we get to where we can stream and communicate across great lengths and all of this kind of stuff, you
You're
know?
not you're not wrong.
No, it's an interesting, it's a very interesting kind of concept and a very interesting kind of uh just thing about life and just humans in general. It's fun. And and coming up with the crazy games and concepts for D&D and everything like that. Like where we go back to being medieval people fighting monsters and creatures of folklore and stuff like that. It's fun. It's
It
fun.
absolutely is.
And speaking about fun things you can do in D&D, there was a
How
few topics I had.
how was Monday for you? Our
Monday
first
was
Monday stream.
fun. I liked it a lot. However, good God, do I need to reevaluate how 5e balancing fights works again?
So here I'll preface this
Yes,
because the CR is intended there for um uh entry level DMs
yes,
to make sure that the challenges that are being put in front of the players are power scaled appropriate. Power scaled
yes.
does not mean hit points versus damage output.
No,
Power scale refers to y- if your players aren't in a tier of play where things like dispel magic is available, do not throw this CR of monster at them because that might be a solution to a problem, right? All leveling
and
up does is give you more solutions to problems. Anybody can swing a longsword and do damage and never get hit. It's the
yes,
thing.
yes,
But
and that's a very fair point. And again, I think next session will be balanced a little bit more properly,
mhm.
especially with the creatures we have coming up.
Yeah, I um you know, Melissa ran uh Descent into Avernus for us.
Mhm.
And it was the first time she'd ever run a campaign.
Oh,
And but I was a player, my buddy Matt was a player, Ryan was a player in it. Eventually he had jumped back in.
right.
And we had some other folks. And you know, she's like, "Oh, this will be fine." The trouble is that there is a vast difference between when Riley plays Dern and when James NPCs Dern. And there is a vast difference in having a bunch of experienced players that like reading the mechanical handbooks and being like, "Oh, you know what's a weird interaction? When Quill conjures spike growth, and Hoots being a flyer, uses enhance ability on himself for strength checks and grapples something and drags them, holding them 5 feet above spike growth, back and forth, doing 60d4 damage a turn.
Mm. Yeah.
2d4 damage every 5 feet that they move. And then, we just keep doing that. We're not gonna do that.
No, no, you're not, but you do find interesting and fun ways, such as sticking your familiar up an elephant's nose with a crowbar.
Well, I mean, he can lift it. Why
He
not?
can lift it. Why
It's
not?
fine. You know, it's it's always a weird thing because like this gets into that like DM ruling of stuff because
Mhm.
there is nothing in the rules that allows you to enter another creature.
No, and it's not a normal interaction you think about, maybe, except for a Tarask or something like that.
It has to be reasonably big. Well, it's so a lot of people get caught up in the name of abilities,
Yes.
the name of the mechanic. And from a design standpoint, and if you're worried about like making homebrew or balancing something out, the easiest thing to do is to name your ability Dave. What do you have? I have an ability called Dave. Okay, and what is the exact specific wording of Dave? Because otherwise, and Mac and I talked about this on a previous stream. He's like, I didn't know how sneak attack worked because it's called sneak attack, and I thought it was a sneak attack. And the DM that I learned how to play D&D with didn't know how sneak attack worked, so I didn't for years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. All abilities are called Dave. Read the ability. It doesn't matter what it's called, it
Yes.
only matters what it does. And that's where reflavoring comes in great.
Well, I was about to say, like, almost all of your spells have a bit of a reflavoring to it. And that's been fun because it's making me read the spells again. When you pop them in, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? Oh, it's the control, not control gravity, but it's
Magnify gravity.
magnify gravity. It's this, it's that. Like the language for it is very different.
Yeah, because you can use whatever you want to use.
Mhm.
Um, but it's all about reflavoring. Like my favorite thing, and it's probably a little telling, but uh, a future NPC interaction is a heavily reflavored um, subclass.
Mhm.
It's just a subclass, doing its thing. Bear with me half a sec. I'm just going to adjust you a tiny, tiny bit.
Volume wise.
Yeah, your your ratio is a little bit poppy still, and I'm not sure why. So there we
Poppy.
go. There it is. That's a little better.
Ah.
3-1 instead of 4-1. Damn you, Harris Heller. Yeah.
Right.
um, but it's like, um, if you if you're reflavoring things, it doesn't have to be like you're a way of the beast barbarian
No.
or a beast barbarian. So why can't it be something a little more flavorful? Same abilities, the same mechanics. You leave the mechanics alone.
Yeah.
If you're homebrewing or if you're just reskinning stuff, leave the mechanics the way they are. Your damage types, you've got your primary damage types: fire, cold, acid,
Yeah.
poison, lightning, and then your hard damage types, which are your necrotic and radiant and
Yeah.
force.
The
You
ones that
never
barely get softened.
you never substitute things where it's like, can I replace this one with force damage? And now I have force fireballs. It's like, no, you need to be a very specific kind of wizard for that, Harry.
No.
I'm
No.
sorry. Um,
Force in general is just a very good damage type. Just speaking about damage types, I think it's one of the best.
it is. It is the least resisted damage type out of all 500 plus stat blocks that are available in 5e.
Yeah.
Um, except in a lot of the critical role stuff.
Really?
Yep. And some of the Mordenkainen stuff. So um
Hmm.
there's things called the lonely, the desperate, um
And the
uh
ugly?
yeah, like no, there's um oh, what the Hollowed, as well is another
I
one.
is this from those books?
I think that one's actually from, Mordenkainen's, if I recall correctly.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they get things like, um, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, um, but only while in dim light or darkness, because 'cause they're these, like, fetid
Um,
golem-like creatures, right?
got it, got it, got
Thri
it, got it, got it, got it.
thrives on company, it has advantage on attack rolls while things are at least within 30 feet of it,
Right.
right? But there's a bunch of them in there that have resistance to force damage,
Okay.
and there's a bunch of stuff in, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount that had straight up immunity to force damage.
Immunity to force damage.
Well, so
Oof.
they're constructs
Okay.
constructs and aberrations that, if you don't have Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, it is a fantastic book, and it has a bunch of, like, mini modules in it that are easy
Oh,
to run,
okay, fair.
and, like, well written. James Hake does amazing writing. He helped write the Tal'Dorei, campaign setting and stuff with Matt Mercer, so he also works
Oh,
on
okay.
a bunch of different D&D products too for, like, I think he did Waterdeep Dragon Heist as well, and a couple
Which was
others.
the fun one.
Yeah,
Which was a
that's where
very fun
Doomy
one.
came from.
Yeah.
Doomy came from Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Um, but yeah, they've got things where they were basically creatures made to fight Aeorian wizards. So what do?
Hmm,
You make them immune to shit like magic missile by making them immune to force damage. And
makes
when they
sense.
hit you, they take your spell slots. And if you don't have any spell slots, start rolling
Oh.
death saves because it's consumed your soul,
Oh, gods.
right? Because
Good to know.
if you're gonna make a mage killer thing, you might as well have it able to, like, eat fighters too, right? But
Fair.
so yeah,
But
how what was your take
on the
on
combat
Monday night? Yeah.
on Monday night, oh, I was happy with the way how certain things went. I was hoping for a little bit more fun in the cave that happened.
Mhm.
But um, I completely role played the box wrong.
The box?
Yeah, the rope trick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, making it a doctor's office. I didn't even think about that, and the fact of characters' backstories. They're not gonna go Quill, of course, isn't gonna go in there. Why would he go in there?
Yeah.
And things like that, and it was like, "Oh, shit." Because I had this whole, like, everybody having a single dream and this one character talking to all 4 of you at the same time kind of thing.
Mhm.
Which I'm still going to have a little bit of fun with.
Mhm.
But it was going to be a bit of an interesting thing. But you guys changed it, and that's fine. And you roll with it.
I loved I really enjoyed the Lovecraft aspect of it.
Thank you.
Let's let's
Uh,
move that a little more blue.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you. I am a big fan of the existential horror genre.
as you should be.
Not necessarily like thriller horror or things like that, but more just the stuff that makes you pause and think.
Mhm.
Um, Again, and also just the whole idea of gods and like who is it? It's Why can't I remember his name? Neil Gaiman.
Mhm.
Neil Gaiman says like, I'm not good at writing people. I like writing gods, and that's
Go
interesting to me.
gods are basically pick a flaw, expand, expand on it. Greed? I can
Exactly.
write greed.
I can.
I could do that.
Yeah,
Pick
yeah,
a sin. Let's go
yeah.
from there. But
Um, and there's all that fun and crazy thing about writing gods, writing beings of immense power. And I don't know, there's just something about the outer gods and the King in Yellow, the Ithaqua, like all of these kind of crazy writings. and the people who have expanded it past what HP Lovecraft did.
Mhm.
Because, well, I mean,
Shit,
HP
shit person, good
shit
books.
person, good books. And he's been
Speaking
dead
of,
long enough to not get anything from it. So,
have you seen the new Guillermo del Toro?
not
Uh,
yet.
what is it, Cabinet of Mysteries or whatever?
Yeah, that is actually on my list.
The trailer for it came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
It's not out yet, but the trailer came out and it looks delicious.
yeah. Okay, good to know. I still need
I
to watch. Oh God, what was it? I think it was an HBO show. But
uh, House of the Dragon.
no, no, it was actually like Lovecraftian show.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
It's small town, like crazy
yes,
Lovecraft. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head.
yeah. The name escapes me.
Yes, but again, I love those kind of weird horror-esque kind of things, and you can even tell, like, I've even taken Dern down those roads a little bit too,
Yeah.
and just in the sense of his backstory and what Melissa revealed and stuff like that, and there is that kind of existential, "What is that?" kind of thing, and I don't know
Mhm.
why I like that stuff, it freaks the hell out of me.
I I like the idea of um you're in this world,
Yeah,
and like D&D in general, like you're in this world, you have all of these denizens that live there.
yes.
And it is highly improbable to treat it like a Final Fantasy, like a current Final Fantasy game,
Mhm.
where immediately as you step outside, everything is of the appropriate level for you to fight.
No,
And then
exactly,
you get
yeah.
a little further and it's a little bit harder, and it's a little bit harder, and it's a little bit harder. There's some caveats to that where it makes sense to have a settlement of people where there aren't giant ripping scary monsters.
But they
Um,
are close to some.
they are close to some. One of the things that Melissa had talked about, Nexus City,
Mhm.
that she gave you guys a little bit of info and
Yes.
character about it. So the general gist with those is I needed a way to put dungeons into the world.
Yes.
'Cause dungeons are kind of a weird thing that it's not like I will make a dungeon and hide some treasure and cleverly place traps and like people will go there. Like there's something kind of weird about that. It's like, unless somebody was crazy wizard was building a death trap sort of
Yeah.
thing, and then it needs to be a death trap. You need to know ahead of time that a crazy wizard built a dungeon death trap, and there's fabulous riches in it.
Yeah, and there's a problem. You're right. There is a problem with that kind of a setup, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Um, the red. Uh,
red.
when we're talking about the Myriad cities and this whole thing, totally makes sense that merchants go down there
Yeah.
with caravans of people to try and dig out more because there's riches. We saw some of the riches.
Yep.
If anybody figures out how to disarm that one room, there so
Yep.
many riches there.
Well,
Items.
if you think, um, if technology is scarce and a city you found a buried Best Buy somewhere, and it's like, holy crap! There's communications devices here. There's batteries. There's everything that we could possibly need.
Yeah.
Um, I also hate the idea and like Tolkien um fantasy of like 10,000 years ago the best sword ever was made,
Mhm.
and everybody else has just been like womp womp and hasn't made a good sword since.
No, and you know what? It's actually kind of funny. Final Fantasy 14, there's actually this whole thing of, yeah, there's these amazing weapons and amazing things that you can get from
I
all the
played it
drops
for
and
a
stuff
long
like that.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then there's the not relic weapons, but like yeah, relic weapons that
Yeah.
you literally find the materials to forge,
Yeah.
and you literally have somebody make a brand new strong as hell weapon.
It's interesting David was wearing a filthy casual shirt the other day,
Yes.
and I'm so sad because that brand already exists, because I used it a lot in my day-to-day life as a saying.
Yeah.
FF14 for me was jumping into it from Final Fantasy 11.
Yes, which is
I
a
bought the
very different game.
I bought the pre-release, it was a garbage game, they redid the game. I jumped into it a couple of years later when we were selling our old house.
Yep.
I had, was just sitting there with a PlayStation and a duffel bag, and, like, we had our house staged, and I'm like, "I can't make a mess, so I'm just gonna live in this chair and play an MMO, and this will be my fun time because we didn't have kids at the time."
Right.
And, all of my friends were max level and doing all of the end game content. I'm just like, "Do, do, 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 do," using the best gear I could get from the auction house, the
Yeah.
plus one stuff from the auction house.
Yeah.
And I'd roll up into events because I'm a tank character and I always, well, not always have been, but it's something that I get really good at. I learn the mechanics and I do my job. And so I'm a tank character and I roll up and everybody's got these, like, they've got their relic gear and their artifact stuff and they've glamored everything so it's custom sets, and like that dude over there's in plate mail and booty shorts and, like, you know,
Great stuff. Great
like
stuff.
all of that. And I'm in stuff that nobody would ever wear, but so the stats are a step down from what the relic stuff is
Yeah.
because I'm in the best craftable gear
Yep.
sets around. And I look like a grizzled old hobo as my avatar,
Perfect.
old scruffy looking dude with ginger hair and just like looks like ragged ass. And he's in old dirty like ragged ass armor because they're like, everybody's checking you constantly. It's like, who's that? What's that? They're just, nobody says anything, but you're just constantly getting checked during a raid. I'm like, I'm trying to fucking work here.
Yeah, they have changed that now, so
Yeah.
you actually can't tell when somebody's looking at your stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it,
But
I know you can turn it off, but it I think it pissed some of my friends off because 'cause they're like, "Well, alright, I hit end game, we're doing a thing, does anybody need help? Bored now." That's like, "Well, I finished all the missions." It's like, "Yeah, but now you can go for relics." I'm like, "Why? This is, like, reasonably good, what I have." And they're like, "Yeah, but you can't make your sword look cool." And I'm like, "I'm not grinding for, like, 37 days for,
cool looking
a
stuff.
cool looking mount. I don't want, a Kikoun flying Nimbus mount, the Chocobo in yellow that I got when I was level 15. Works just fine for me, thank you." And you show up on a yellow Chocobo to end the game content, and they're like, "Who is this man? What is his damage?"
The budget tank.
Right? And they're like, "Oh, he's a gill seller or an RMT bot," right?
Yeah.
And it's like, "No, hi, I'm just a
Hi,
dude.
I'm just a dude. I'm playing here.
I'm here to stand in front of you and get socked in the face."
But
But,
actually, talking about Final Fantasy 14, you haven't played any of the new stuff, obviously.
the last I went through was, Heaven something something.
Heaven's Ward.
Yeah,
Heaven's Ward.
yeah,
Um, so they've had, let's see, Stormblood.
yeah. I did Stormblood.
Um, Stormblood, which was after Heaven's Ward. Then they did Shadowbringers and
I did
Walker.
not do Shadowbringers.
Yeah. So just speaking about like characterizations and stuff like that, wish and hope one day I can write a villain as good as they did
That's fair.
in Endwalker. Or sorry, in Shadowbringers.
Mhm,
I have, just speaking about storytelling and stuff like that, I have never felt so much compassion for a character that
mhm.
I had to murder. Kind of just like as in Borderlands, I never have wanted to kill a character so badly as Handsome Jack.
So, I've never played Borderlands.
No?
Nope, nope.
Fair?
I my, uh my gamer cred is severely limited these days
I mean, you have
because
2 kids.
yes.
Yeah, and
But
that's fair.
it's more than that. It's
Mm,
that, I found a niche that I fell into
mhm.
that I really liked, and I around the time around the PS3 came out.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Cool, there's all these games on the PS3. You know what I wanna play? Rock Band. I wanna play Rock Band every hour of every day."
Yep.
And, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts is coming out. Cool, I'll grab that." And, like, new Final Fantasy games and stuff, RPGs,
Yeah, yeah.
because I like the idea of buying a game and getting, hundreds of hours of
Oh,
content
yeah,
out of it.
100%.
Um, I've never been much of a shooter guy. I played a lot of Counter Strike and stuff in high school, and
Who didn't?
and Duke Nukem and a little bit of Half Life,
Yeah.
and that was it. I've never played Fortnite. I've never played Overwatch. I've never played like what's the one with the Rocket League? I've seen some
Oh,
people
yeah,
play
yeah,
Rocket
yeah.
League and stuff. Uh, I'm just like, that's fine.
No, that's fair. I
It's
mean,
not my jam.
it's and that's totally fine. It's
I pl-
out of all the video games I've played, um, Borderlands 2 and Final Fantasy 14 have had the 2 best written villains, I think, in any video game.
that's fair. Yeah.
And it's just wanting to create that and bringing it back to D&D is having those satisfying characters, having
Mhm.
those satisfying kind of arcs, if you will. Like
Yeah.
you want to have those moments um where you want to take down somebody because, or you have to take down somebody because,
Hmm.
not necessarily that you want to, but because you have to.
Yep.
And
That's your compelling draw for a lot of campaigns where it's like,
mhm,
uh, it's always interesting in character development too because it's like we could just leave.
mhm,
And I brought that up in our game on Monday where it's like, "Okay, guys, what do you wanna do? If you think that this is worth it, we'll go and murder some people.
yeah,
We could always just leave." And
yep,
it's a really tricky thing to get to because if you take away the character's ability to just leave, it's automatically railroading. Don't do that sort of thing.
yeah,
Like, grow up. Come on. We can we can do better. We
yeah,
can tell better stories than that. But
yeah, 100%.
I'm not a fan of puzzles in my games because
Yes.
I find that they break immersion quite a bit. Where it's like, okay, we need to stop playing the game we're playing right now of Dungeons and Dragons. Go above table, and Riley, I need you to fill out these 5 Sudokus.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. When you're done with those 5 Sudokus, you hand them over to Melissa, and she will now do a word search. And therefore, that is a representation of your character's finishing puzzles. No, we're never going to do that.
No,
Anything harder than a Legend of Zelda push the block into the square block into the square hole, not going
yeah,
to be a thing.
no,
Like the
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the entry fee that you guys took on. Melissa and I put something together for all of that. Where it's like it wasn't gonna be hard to figure out.
No,
The scales thing took way longer than I thought it was going to, but with some simple somebody could have just rolled, it's like, "Can I just figure out the scales?" Like, Hoots is pretty smart, but David's not tonight. Can I just roll to figure that out? That is a perfectly valid thing, like, if you're playing a character that is not naturally charismatic or persuasive or has a hard time engaging and making good compelling arguments and you're playing a charisma based character, it is entirely reasonable to be like, look, um Buddy is down for this conversation, James is not. I would like the dice to decide this, please, and so we can move on.
yeah, no, and it's I feel like I run into that sometimes too, where it's like Dern is not the smartest knife in or isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yeah.
No, but Riley figures it out and goes, "How would Dern figure this out?"
Yes.
And that's where I have my pauses because I'm like, Dern can't roll this.
Yeah.
but can Dern find the logical leaps in the knowledge that he has to make it make sense.
Mhm.
And that's a funny thing when we're talking about D&D characters rolling or knowing or figuring things out.
Yeah.
Because it's not fun to just be the I'm the dumb guy.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? That kind of thing like that. Like no, it yeah, Dern's not the smartest, but every once in a while he'll be like, "Wait a minute.
Mhm.
Wait." And you hear the gears grinding in the head.
Yeah. It's interesting too, like, um, the approach that you take to those sorts of things, where
Yeah.
it's like, when, uh when you do figure those sorts of things out, and it's like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm not even gonna make you roll for it because that is how the barbarian would solve this problem, right?
Yeah.
But, it's I like the dynamic we have going so far because you have
Yeah.
2. Quill's not dumb, but
Quill's not dumb,
Quill's
he's clever.
Quill has a high wisdom. So
Mhm.
he's got some self-preservation, ingrained in him.
Yeah.
Quill doesn't have a whole lot of book smart, like,
No.
intelligent conversation sorta deals going on.
No, he doesn't. But
Yeah,
that's okay because we do have the other parts of the group that kind of fill in different gaps.
yeah.
I think we actually have a pretty balanced party in that sense
Mhm.
of abilities and things like that. I mean, I would personally love another frontliner, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Um
Well, and that the thing is, like, this is what we talked about with your protection style,
Mhm.
or not protection style, but, like, the
The
interception
martial
style.
style. Yeah,
It it only really, like, it shines best when you've got more than one person up front.
yeah, no, and you're very right about that. And but at the same time, it just feels so darn it's ridiculous.
Yep.
And that's the problem.
Mhm. It's good. It will by the time you guys hit level 8, it no longer has an effect.
No.
Like, dropping things by a D10 doesn't things are hitting you for way too much at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
But,
Is it
yeah,
does it only stay at D10? I thought it went up a bit.
it's a
Or
D10 plus your proficiency
proficiency.
modifier, I think it
Yep,
is,
yep, yep. You're right. You're right.
without
100%.
looking it up directly. But,
Yeah, it's something along those lines. I thought it had something else it could do, but no. And now
yeah,
Dern can swing twice, so I'm excited for when Dern gets to play again because Dern's going to be hitting some people.
Darren can swing twice. If he lives.
If he lives, we'll have to see. Find out next Monday.
Indeed.
Or actually not next Monday, the next Monday.
Next Monday, because
Next Monday.
Thanksgiving in Canada. So we are all of the Canadian. All of the Canadian.
All of the Canadian.
Mhm.
And on the 22nd, we do have a very awesome event happening.
Yeah, we're,
Plug.
a super plug. You can notice it down technically down there in the
Okay,
doobly doo on
hold on.
screen.
Am I going this way?
You're going the opposite way of that.
Oh,
There it is.
there it is.
Fusion. Ah,
Ha!
there it is. Um, on the 22nd, we're partnering with the Make-A-Wish Foundation again, for their Roll for Wishes campaign. I should grab the Tiltify information for our stream
That's not
because
a bad idea.
it's a good idea. It's a
Good
very good
idea.
idea. Ba-da-ba-ba-dum.
But yeah, no,
Uh,
it's exciting. Everybody else talked about the characters. I have no idea what anybody else is playing. What are people
oh,
playing?
bear with me a sec. I will tell you
Awesome.
after I throw this in the chat.
The
So
chat.
this is the Tiltify link where you can go to donate to uh, Make a Wishes fundraiser on the 22nd. We're going to be at Dragon Fest here in Calgary, Alberta. It's hosted out of the D6 Board Game Cafe. Um, it's 3 days of D&D and workshops and mini painting and stuff like that. Uh, it's
Yay.
it's a new festival trying to build up a community around stuff and just get folks in to have a good time and sharing a hobby. So there's an Eventbrite page for it too if you Google Dragon Fest or Dragon Fest Calgary. It'll pop up.
D&D
Um,
Fest.
it's gonna be a good time. So
Yeah.
we're playing 9 hours of continuous D&D. Um, our our stream's looking to raise about 5 grand, for the time. We're essentially taking donations of, similar to what we did last December.
Yes.
Small donations of like, here's $5, reskin a villain. Here's $5, throw a D20 into a pool for the players to use, or you can donate D20s to me as the DM to use against the
Donate
players.
donate $1,000. Riley will get a die tattooed on his butt.
Yeah, things like that. Your donations can directly impact the game. They get magic items. They can get long rests on the fly to just burn as an action. Um, it's it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
ideally, we can raise some money for some kids in need. We actually had a bunch of D&D streamers put together the modules. Uh, Make a Wish had asked for a handful of modules to be put together for kids to run, so they're pretty straightforward, easy to read, simplistic sort of games that you can just kind of build upon.
Yeah.
Um, David on our stream actually took a hand in editing all of them and putting a bunch of them together and stuff. So
Yeah.
um, we're going to be running a version of those. I'm drawing from them for inspiration
Mm,
for some of the background and the story elements, but the encounters and um, you know, Tim Curry villains are very much going to be different.
Tim Curry.
Look,
We're
there's a
go
reason that people in the world still pollute, and it is like the 1992 version of movie Fern Gully,
Oh
because
yeah,
they made
100%.
pollution sexy by casting Tim Curry in it.
Well, I was about to say my favorite Tim Curry thing is, and it's going to be the worst. It is Red Alert 3.
Yes,
We're
that's
going to the
fair.
one place where capitalism is or I can't remember the quote, but it's just like, we'll go to space.
I love it. But, so yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Um, we'll have some more, announcements and stuff closer to and on our
Yeah.
socials and things like that. So
What are they playing? What's everybody playing?
oh, so we've got, you playing
Dirty Dirty
um,
Alchemist.
a dirty, dirty alchemist
Yes.
who was a goblin, and you know what? So we talked about all the backgrounds of people, and
Yes.
I'll go through everything. Um, the premise is that you're all kids,
Yes.
and you go into, channeling true 1980s D&D cartoon show. You're at a goose-themed, amusement park because I can't use it as another, rodent-based amusement park because, you're at Goose World.
Welcome to Gooseland. Whoa.
Gooseland is the off-brand, like, it exists in, like, Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, sorry, this
Um,
is welcome to Goose World. Whoa.
exactly. So they get on a dragon-themed roller coaster and
Of
a bunch
course.
of kids go through. Um Mac is playing a kid in the 5th grade who has, goggles and Trunks hair. So he's, of course, coming through as a protector, Azamar, Sun Soul Monk, because it gives you, once per long rest, the ability to glow brightly, turn into a Super Saiyan, and fly around. And the Sun Soul Monk gives you the ability to throw energy blasts at 30 feet as a monk.
Of course. That's
I'm
great.
gonna say right now, that is not an optimized build.
Nope.
It is not breaking any records on anything, but it's
Nope.
gonna be really fun.
Yep. That's
Uh,
good.
so yeah, his thing is he's like, "Imma be Trunks or Goku." I said Yamcha, and he's like, "You shut your whore mouth." Um, Melissa
Mhm.
is, again, 5th grader, also a Protector Azamar because she is a girl that loves glowy transformations and action sequences. She's playing a Peace Domain cleric of 5th level, using her Guardian emblem and Glamoury breastplate for transformation sequences fueled by prestidigitation. Um, she does not have meatballs on her head. They're probably triangles of some kind. Um, and her mace is certainly a star-studded scepter with certain celestial objects on it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, probably rocking a skirt and knee highs.
Yep. Yep.
So, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
Um, then we have Chonk, Chonk LeChonk. Um, April from the Make a Wish Foundation.
I thought you were gonna say David because I was
No,
thinking like, come on, David.
no, straight up inspired by the Goonies. Instead of Chunk, it's Chonk. Um, is a also kid going through. Is an Earth Genasi Horizon Walker Ranger. For
Okay.
various reasons, we went through on our last like Wednesday thing, and we talked about like what kind of races, and she's like there's Tolkien stuff, and like she's familiar with some of it, but she's never played D&D before.
Right.
So I'm like, there's like the humanoid looking ones, there's the animal sort of looking ones, and then there's the weird ones. And she's like,
Yes.
give me the weird ones. I'm like, "Do you wanna be a centaur?" And she's like, "That seems cumbersome." And I'm like, "Do you wanna be a like a genie folk?" And she's like, "That thing." And I'm like, "Earth, wind, fire, water."
Oh my
And she's
god,
like,
is it planet Earth?
she's an Earth genasi, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Um, and we had talked originally, she's like, Rangers like Aragorn, that sort of thing. And I'm
Yep.
like, "Do you want magic or no magic as an archer?" And she's like, "Magic." And I'm like, "Ranger it is." But given that she has not played D&D before,
Yes.
I wasn't going to like dump her into Gloomwalker or Gloomstalker or something,
No, no.
which is the optimized way to go to outshine everybody in your party and shoot things to death 1,000 times.
Yes.
She is a Horizon Walker because, with simple mechanics and a simple flow sheet, she has um, an ability to just magically sense the existence of planar portals if it comes up um, within a mile of her,
Yeah.
which seems like it's a pretty useful storytelling element for stuff. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
want to burden her with a lot of mechanics to learn.
Yeah.
Melissa's going to be helping her on stream, and her big thing is like as a bonus action, she can say the next time I hit something with a weapon, it does force damage instead of arrow damage
Nice.
or piercing damage,
Yeah.
which
Fun.
that does the trick.
Yeah.
And for a new player, it's like the simple NPC sheets that I made for the other streamers that we had in December.
Yeah.
A lot of them had never played D&D before, so I wasn't gonna be like, "Here is 7 pages of spell casting." I
No.
made them NPC sheets with simplified abilities that reflected their
Yeah.
actual character sheets.
So, I th- I'm still kind of figuring out the character a little bit, but probably a little bit younger, like fourth or third grade
Okay,
kid. So little brother to one of the other kids.
I like it.
Who's been dragged along on this trip because
Yep.
um the he's gonna have a little bit of a scuffle going
Chucky.
on.
So you're
Yeah,
playing Chucky, yeah.
I play a little bit of a Chucky character, but my dad's a pyrotechnic, and that's why I really like fire explosives.
Cherry bombs and stagehands and stuff.
Cherry bomb, I really
Mm.
like it. My dad doesn't like me taking things, but I do anyway.
I like it. So you come through and your kids become their alter egos.
Yes.
Why is he a goblin?
Because he knows he's a goblin.
Okay.
He's completely
Oh,
aware that
he hit puberty early and he's like, if I'm gonna be crater face, I'm gonna be crater face.
yeah, no, he's a goblin because he he likes to torment his brother or sister or whoever,
Mhm.
and he gets away with it
I like it.
because like that's one of the kind of goblin abilities is being able to get out of things and things like
Mhm.
that. And yeah, 100%.
So I need to I gave everybody some magic items. I didn't wanna throw anything on
Oh yeah.
yours until we talked, but, what kind of things does is it Reich?
Reich is his name, but I think that's his goblin name. I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out like
Nobody has a regular name. Everybody
nobody.
has their
Okay,
hero name. Yeah.
okay, fair enough. I was gonna Reich or something
Except
like
for
that.
maybe Chonk. Chonk
Maybe
might be
Chunk.
the pseudonym on both sides of the mystical space portal.
Fantastic. But I really wanted to just have a little bit of fun with a character that is chaotic, but also show that, chaotic doesn't mean just fucking random.
Yes.
And he's chaotic good in the sense that he loves his sibling.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that he doesn't want to put a sparkler down their pocket or something like that and light it on fire.
That's fair.
His parents have definitely tried to hide everything from him, but he finds them somehow. That's kind of his character. So
You know, I think yeah, I've definitely found, the items that he's gonna get.
okay,
So, you can review those later, and we
okay,
can reveal them
sounds
on
good.
stream later.
Oh,
Um,
to also just go with the whole alchemist thing, his favorite drink is swamp water.
yeah, yeah. As many fountain drinks as you can fit into a 7-Eleven cup.
Exactly. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
like the first scene is just gonna be him holding a big gulp,
Yeah.
and it's just like he takes a sip out of it, Pepsi, and then like a few seconds later,
Cream
Diet
soda.
soda,
Yeah.
Clave soda. Mm. Yeah, exactly.
Giant goblin nose. I like it. I'm here for it. That works for me.
Mhm.
But yeah, we were talking about, abusing familiars, but not real
Oh god.
animals,
Yes, oh
specifically.
god, that was, like, right at the beginning before we even started the stream, yeah. Yeah, you have a
So,
certain owl.
yeah, so I've been using Oris as a wizard familiar for since about 3rd edition.
3rd edition,
Yeah,
jeez.
yeah.
I love that you keep
I
getting the
started with
same one.
3rd and then went to 3.5, and then we went back and played 2 for a couple of years because
Yep,
the group that I jumped into was playing 2nd edition.
right.
Um,
So why do you keep bringing the same familiar?
it's one of those things where it's like it's very much a bad trope to use the same character over and over and over and over and over
Yeah,
again. So I do change it up, but when I have access to familiars, it's always Oris. It's not always an owl. Oris is not always an owl.
but
It's
it
just
but it
he's a vehicle for nefarious purposes. If something's gonna go disarm a trap by stepping on it, it's
it's
gonna be
Horus.
Oris. Yeah.
Yep,
He's resigned to his fate, right?
yep.
In the optimization community or the optimancers,
Optimancers, yeah,
yeah, um, they're like, "Find Familiar is a really good spell. Here is a cataloged list of all the things that you can do with Find Familiar."
familiar.
And I read that as, "Here's all the things that you can do to your familiar."
Here's how you destroy your familiar in many different ways.
You remember all that time that, Foxglove spent as a squirrel?
Yes.
You know what squirrels get summoned as?
What?
Familiars.
Oh god.
You're a tiny face spirit. You showed up in an adventurer's back pocket one day, and it's like, "You're my owl familiar, go do a thing," and he's like, "Ah." That's why
S
it's a punishment.
Oh my god, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
entirely makes sense. Oh my god.
but because
Oh,
because again, their physical bodies go bamf, and then they go back to the Fey realm, where
yeah,
they're minor Fey spirits.
that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I like to feel like Albrun was paid off at some point to, like, be especially harsh to his familiar because they're like, "Fuck that guy. He is trapped as an owl for an extended period of time." Sometimes
Yeah,
he's an octopus, but, it's a
yeah,
thing.
but so what did Oris do in his previous life to deserve this?
I don't know. It all just it became this, like, he wasn't always a haggard looking little
Oh,
son of a bitch. Um, for if anybody missed the last game, he's an owlet about yay big that just he's missing most of his feathers. And it's like, um, he's got like that. You seen those mugs where like an owl's drinking coffee and it's like, don't talk to me before 9 a.m. That's what Oris looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oddly enough, also me before 9 a.m. I'm like, there's no talking in our house before 9 a.m.
No, and it's no one's allowed to talk, period.
Mhm.
But no, it's I like the characterization of him. I like the characterization of all of the of actually all of our characters currently. Everybody has something fascinating or fun.
It's interesting. So when I built out Albrin,
Mm.
um, Albrin is a mansplaining support wizard
Yes.
because everything about him is guidance, bless, enhance ability, like stuff, right?
Yes.
Um, so I made it as it's like no, see, actually, what you have to do is you just guidance, a
Yeah.
guidance skill, and it's like,
Yeah.
see, it's easy. I showed you how to do it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I
It's fine.
loosened it for you. It's fine. It's like if you could just suck less for like a minute less.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no,
No.
you just gotta like hit him with the thing, and it's like the dude that uncomfortably leans past you to grab your mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
That's where I rooted that in. I fully
And
anticipated Hoots was going to hate him, and that's
I
not what
I
happened.
I love the fact that Hoots is like, "Oh, I like this kid."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, yeah."
he is 100% an IT tech that probably he got killed riding his bike by a dude that didn't respect bike lanes.
Yeah, in Vancouver,
You know, no.
No,
Not Vancouver,
no.
specifically. I'm a BC boy. Vancouver and their hockey team are not welcome in my house
Oh, hey now.
most of the time. I know you lived down there, but Vancouver Island, beautiful place. Excellent
Beautiful
hiking.
place.
Done the West Coast Trail. It's a
Yeah.
good time.
I really did like, I lived outside of Vancouver, but,
Mhm.
um, there's Vancouver's a special place.
That's fair. You
Good
can
and
apply
bad.
that word however you like.
Exactly.
I I envisioned I envisioned him being much more of a Torontite, I think it's called,
Ah,
right?
Torontonian?
Torontonian? I'm not sure what the moniker is for people from the Greater Toronto Area. From the GTA!
I was about to say something, but I stopped myself.
Or even better, from Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Thunder Bay.
You know what?
Are we
Canon.
gonna start getting into the
It's
accents of Canada?
it's can it's only when he says Thunder Bay.
Thunder
Everything
Bay.
else is fine. It's just Thunder Bay, boy. I suppose, and I suppose it sails,
Speak
sir.
I to say about
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
Because I was looking at different, like, John Coffey kind of, things where it's like, "Where are you from?" "Louisiana. Louisiana Tech. Go Gators."
Cocaine.
And I was like, I can't do that for 4 weeks. I can't.
No, you can't do that
Nothing will
for
get done.
4 hours.
Nothing will get done.
I mean,
"We're
it's
casting fireballs, motherfucker."
I I know 100%. I'm gonna really probably
Yeah,
regret this voice by hour 2 of the stream, but
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care.
Just go ahead, Cole, before,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be fine. That should be good.
Yeah, no,
Um
it's gonna be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good event,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
hopefully the turnout's really swell. We're working with the cafe and the organizers right now to, try and drum up some support. They're
Yeah.
looking for, GMs to run some games and stuff
Which
and paint minis and that.
I've definitely said that, I need to meet the person, or at least I need
Yeah.
to say that
I'll
we will
I'll
do that.
I'll send you the, there's a web form you can fill out to be like, "Hey, this is me,"
Yep,
and
and
all
yeah,
that jazz.
I'm gonna either run or do mini painting with people. One or the
That's fair.
other, just because I haven't mini painted for a little while, but I have some basic techniques that will work.
That's
So,
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
But
gonna
no,
be fun.
I'm looking forward to next week or the week after because we
Yes,
can, you know, uh, foil your plans immensely.
it's fine.
I'm just the dynamics of we got a lot of mileage out of rope trick on
You
Monday.
guys did.
And it's one of those things where it's like it's a pretty okay spell. Like
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it lets you take a short rest because it'll last for an hour in a
yeah.
place that you couldn't otherwise take it. But it's like it could also save your bum
Yes, it can. I think
in an
rope trick
avalanche.
is a great idea. Now here's a question. How many spell slots did you use last session
Uh
before we ended?
Let me look. So I ran arcane recovery
Yes.
in rope trick to recover the rope trick spell that I used.
Yes.
Oh, that's your
Because you did
character,
use
not
a
mine.
thunderbolt or fireball.
Yeah, I
Thunderball.
did.
I'm gonna call it
Uh
thunderball.
Thunderball. So I burned
Thunderball.
one third level spell,
Okay.
two second level spells,
Okay.
and two first level spells because I used Sanctuary twice.
Yep.
I used Rope Trick. I used Immovable Object.
Oh no, but
Oh
that
wait, sorry.
was
Yeah,
but this is after that rest. So I know it was a rope
yeah,
trick. Rope trick then got recovered for one of them,
yeah.
and then you used
So
a fireball.
I'm down a third level spell slot. I'm down a second level spell slot, and I'm down two first level spell slots.
I think you're only down one level, first level spell slot.
I cast Sanctuary twice.
Oh, you cast it twice. Okay, yeah.
Once on Hoots and once on me. So
Right. Right, right,
yeah,
right, right. Okay.
that's the thing.
So how many
So
spell slots do you have left then?
I have two third level spell slots left, so I
Okay.
can get off two more fireballs. And I
Okay.
have two second level spell slots left and two first level spell slots left.
Okay, so you still have plenty of utility.
Yeah, I can hang for a little
Cool.
while at least.
Cool.
I I say that with trepidation because I have more spell slots than anybody because that's what I have,
Yes.
right? Like Hoots has other shit he can do
He
aside
has
from
a
spells.
cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With knockbacky fireball or flamethrower goodness.
Or healing goodness. I'm surprised that hasn't come out yet either.
We don't have a turn. We have a Doomy,
You have a
but
Doomy.
you know,
Doomy's pretty good.
preventing damage is fine. Killing things faster prevents more damage than healing does.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Um, the oh, and I used my bless, my once a day bless.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
that's from Fey Touched.
Yes. That's right.
I, I can cast it more with spell slots
Right. Yeah,
if it
no,
comes up.
if it comes up, but I think you still have enough utility for the next fight.
Yeah,
Which I mean, I also like that David got real mad at me.
I don't know why. Oh, he probably signed in as a GM and was like, "What the fuck is
No,
wrong with you?"
well, he also we had talked a little bit, but I didn't say exactly what you guys were fighting, but I was like, "Oh yeah, you've mentioned them before." He
Yeah,
looked at me and he was like, "What do you mean I've mentioned them before? You've mentioned them before."
yeah,
Just kind of did that. And then the sounds also were a key thing on that. So
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It
I'm
should be
very
good.
much so looking forward to the fight. Which you'll have to catch 2 weeks from now.
Wednesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time,
Time.
in old timey voices, voices,
Voices,
voices,
voices,
voices.
voices.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we got 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to touch on aside from
Ah,
beer and charities and fundraisers
there's
and
and
abusing
villains
familiars?
and abusing familiars. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think I got some of my storytelling kind of things in there a little bit. Little bit of the horror aspect that I like. The making you think about existential things.
Hmm.
Um,
Look,
and
when
etc.
when you walk into a room and there's a bunch of cultists and your party's been whammied and none of them are powerful wizards, it's like something's up with this place. "Oh, look, a big mural with glowing, piercing eyes. Should we touch them? Should I stick my dick in the light socket? Probably not. We should
Probably
probably leave."
not. I think I can tell you what they are now because they definitely will not come back for this arc
Mhm.
anyway. They're 100% the portal into his domain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
100%
old
what they are.
good old demi-plane things.
Demi-plane things.
Yep.
100%.
It is glyph
Oh,
boarding
touch 'em.
imbued with demi-plane on doing a thing. Like, we can do this. What do you get when you have a wizard with Batman-like prep time? That should be a topic the next time that we do one of
Oh,
these,
I
because
think so.
we can go through the, um, telecommunications network.
Yes. Oh my god, we could have also started talking about like warlocks and all this kind of stuff and the differences between
Co
spellcasters, all that kind of stuff.
coffee locks are not okay,
Coffee
and
locks?
so coffee locks are what happened when you get a character
Mhm.
that does not need to sleep, and you combine a warlock and a sorcerer together. And what you do is you never take a long rest ever again in your entire life, because long rests are a mechanical thing
Yes,
where
they
it's like,
are.
it's not a long rest, it's called Dave. Do I need to take Dave? Unless a mechanic says I need to take Dave, I don't need to take Dave, regardless of what it's
Oh
called.
god,
So what you do
warlocks
is,
can do that.
so warlocks get their spells back on a short rest. So what you do
Yes,
is you
they
take your
do.
warlock spells and you convert them into spell points that you immediately use to convert into spell slots. And then you take a short rest and you convert those new warlock spells into spell slots. So while you guys are sitting down for 8 hours, I'm spending 8 hours taking 8 short rests, converting, and now I have 56 spell slots. And um it becomes a problem because there are certain things that where it's, Xanathar's kind of addressed this, where they touched on, if you don't take specifically a long rest after a certain amount of thing, there's some forced march stuff where it's like, oh, you had a challenging adventuring day. If you don't take a short rest after a challenging adventuring day, roll ever increasing con saves, and you start
Or
taking
get
levels of
exhausted.
exhaustion.
Yeah, that
So
makes
you
sense.
so you fix that by uh, level dipping a few things to give yourself greater restoration, to
I
remove levels of exhaustion.
God. I just
Um,
love the idea of just this warlock. All you see is just
yeah, coffee lux, and it's, I want to say it's even worse than that, because in Tasha's, I
yes.
I don't care if it's past 10 o'clock. This is going to
Yeah,
be a
yeah, it's
late
fine.
one.
Yeah.
In Tasha's, let
Mhm.
me see here. Optional class features in Tasha's. There's an ability called, it's later. Um, it's tireless at 10th level.
Mhm.
It gives you some stuff where you get temporary hit points, but whenever you finish a short rest, your exhaustion level decreases by 1,
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
which is not meant to interact with this stuff at all.
No.
But technically, your coffee lock can last as long as they can make saving throws against the exhaustion until they finally die. Or you just take a long rest and then do it all again the next day.
Yeah, no, it's just like, "Okay, guys, your nose is bleeding, Tweak. Your nose is bleeding."
Fine. And
Fred?
there's warlock invocations that you don't need to sleep anyways.
Exactly.
Nothing mechanical says you need to sleep. Um,
I've been up for 96 hours.
well, and they changed the wording on elves slightly to clarify trance, and it kind of made things, this is harder to do now because of it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's a thing that
God.
can happen.
Okay,
Um,
I need to look. I'm going to make a warlock
you
cult
can
quick.
you can Google the coffee lock. It's a pretty well known build.
I
It it takes advantage of, uh, in the player's handbook,
Yep.
where for sorcerer, under meta magic,
Yes.
it specifically says for, your flexible casting, You can
Yep.
transform unexpended sorcery points into one spell slot as a bonus action on your turn. The creating spell slots table shows you the cost of creating a spell slot of the given level. You can
Right.
create spell slots no higher in level than fifth. And then the other one is converting a spell slot to sorcery points. As a bonus action on your turn, you can expend one spell slot, yada, yada, yada. The thing that's left out is it's called creating spell slots, not regaining spell slots.
Yep.
And if it was said
Slight
as regaining
language.
spell slots, it means you can never go beyond the maximum on your spell slots per level.
But because it says create, you
Because it says
literally
creating,
create. Oh
but again,
god.
if you call the ability Dave and just read what it does,
Yep.
um, it
You
still
are.
doesn't it still doesn't help matters because it says creating spell slots in the name of the like
Yep.
thing.
Oh, that's
Um,
so bad. That
so
is
yeah, that's a thing that happens.
it, and
Um,
this is the reason why you have crazy people read your spells or read your books.
at the end of the day, the like I've been pretty like candid about this. The antagonists in the world that you guys are
Oh
exploring and
yes.
playing in um are primarily like a lot of them are monsters and like your ancient evil like shenanigans and things like that.
But some of
Uh
them,
some of them are very bad people because not everybody that comes through this portal are like, "Oh, you're chosen ones because your heart is pure." It's like, "No, a very specific set of cosmic circumstances pulled you through a hole.
yep,
Here you go." And not everybody that is given access to Fireball is going to think about it much.
no.
And most of those people get kicked out of the womb, the place that you guys reside in. But you know what? Most of them, like, if you turn away a cleric, they're going to find a different god that keeps giving them magical powers because Spirit Guardians is like crack. I'm sorry to have to be the one to break it to everybody, but if you turn on Razor Buzzsaws in a 15-foot radius around yourself, you start feeling like a god on a power trip. Play a cleric if you want to know what that feels like. It's
Again,
pretty good.
clerics, I think. Okay, last thing before we end for tonight. Without explanation, maybe except for wizard, the best class in D&D.
No. Not 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 in 5e at the very least.
Yeah.
Previous editions, clerics are good. The spell
Yeah.
list is pretty limited for the most part, but you can fix that. Again, framing it from 5e.
Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase this. What do you think the best class is?
Uh, Wizard aside, and with a slight caveat of now that the Clockwork Soul Sorcerer exists, there's a build to give sorcerer or for sorcerer to give wizard a run for its money. A friend of the channel, Chris, he runs Tree and
Yep.
Monk's Temple.
Yes, I think you've shown me his
He
channel
did
so
it. He
before.
did a long video on like who's better, wizards or my god wizard sorcerer. And it's like technically wizards still beat this out a little bit, but it's uh a lot of it can come down to like did you play it right? Did you make the correct choices, the optimal decisions and stuff?
Yeah.
Um and this comes down to like we've got a friend in one of our weekly games that he's like, I want to play a caster, and I'm like, try this, and I slid some paper across the table, and Joshua's playing that very same god wizard,
Yeah.
and when you compare it to like, what are you doing? I'm a human paladin. Oh, okay, okay, like I'm a manipulate time and probability to fuck up your day. Oh, you crit? No. Oh,
Again,
because
oh, go ahead.
silvery barbs as an ability on that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you have advantage? No, you don't. Oh, you have
Yeah.
disadvantage? No, you don't.
I want to play a divination wizard at some point. Just because I love divination rolls. I love the idea of somebody just going like, "You know what? No." And just time just being weird for a second. I love that kind of aspect.
I I see it as like that scene in The Force Awakens where the blaster bolt just like stops and it's
Oh,
being
fuck.
held. That's what Portent feels like to me cinematically at the table, where it's like,
Yep.
"Ha!" And it was a 20, and then it's not, and now it's a 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
No, and people can say what they want about the and last 3 Star Wars movies. I don't care.
there was some
The
good cinematography and very good scenes, and it's beautiful.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I'm just going to leave it at,
Yeah,
because it felt like Star Wars in just the way like the way how the actions were done and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah. To your question, to your point, there are some very specific builds, and more so now. Um, the most powerful class in D&D is the Creation Bard, because much like the Coffee Warlock, the Creation Bard is basically, and again, taking somebody else's interpretation of this, is your typical Disney princess that they can sing to the furniture and it comes alive and it does what you need. You know what I have? I've got a boudoir that is basically a flying armed turret that I can fly around on because it has a fly speed. Okay, let's weaponize this because bards are full casters. I got
There.
access to wish. I get access to ninth level spells. You know what? As a bard, I can take glyph of warding and wish and start dumping wish into glyph of warding. And who's the wizard now, bitch? Like, I'm gonna get myself a big heavy book with like large, huge pages, put glyph of warding, imbuing wish into it that says activate wish every time I stamp my thumbprint on this.
Yeah.
Walk away. And there's some dispute on whether or not a wish cast from somebody else pushing their thumb into a page to sign a contract that does whatever uses up my ability to cast wish in future states if they're asking for things that aren't just replicating spell slots.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I can create life using nigh unlimited semi-phenomenal nearly cosmic powers. That's got some implications.
Yeah, D&D at later levels is just stupid.
Yes. It
It's
sorry, 5th 5th level. 5th level.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
No, I mean for the creation wizard, or
Oh,
creation wizard, creation bard.
Creation Bard, yeah.
Yeah. It's uh Tasha's is full of all sorts of different goodies for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um and I'm going to drag this out a little bit more.
Oh, it's all good.
So, where are we here? Those are fighters. That's not what I'm looking for. Here it is. Those are clerics. The the College of Creation. So,
Okay.
performance of creation. As an action, you channel magic and you create one non-magical item of your choice. The item can appear on a surface. Gold piece value can't be more than 20 times your bard level. Can't be. It must be medium or smaller. Yada 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 yada.
Yada, yada, yada.
So you can make a thing to use the thing. The
Yeah.
size of your item you can create with this feature increases to large at 6th level and huge at 14th level. Very very small thing. The dancing item is or you take your item at 6th level as an action. You can create a larger, smaller magical item that you see within 30 feet,
Yeah.
and you can animate. And you can animate the thing that you create with your out of thin air, right?
Right.
So I create a titanium wall that is incredibly thin, but surrounds the
Yeah.
thing. An airtight sealed chamber. Snap. What's that? What's silicone cost in this world? Right? What's plexiglass? Or hardened steel. I create a suit of armor around that wizard. Oh, they're wearing armor. Can't cast spells. Like little semantics and things, right? Like
Yeah.
you need to read it. There's much more in depth to it.
Yeah,
But
but
animating performance of it is this thing that you make. Um, you can use it to animate it. and you can't do so until you finish a long rest,
Right.
and you can only have one thing at a time. But you can take it's basically the best feature of the 14th level illusionist wizard, where
Mhm.
it's you can make your illusions reality.
Yeah.
And it's like hallucinatory terrain. No, that is really a hellscape full of bunnies. They're real now, and it's you make it real at sixth level.
Right. Speaking about illusionary wizards, there is 100% a hollow deck in the womb, isn't there?
Hmm?
There's 100% a hollow deck in the womb, isn't there?
Yes, we talked about this already on
Did
stream.
we?
We did. They're in the towers. There is a place called the Bubble Spheres. They're
Oh, that's where
magically,
they yes, where they do the experiments and things like that. I didn't know that they were actually also those kind of things.
yeah. So, magically reinforced rooms for experimentation and development. Um, and everybody has to use arcane. Every arcane caster in the womb is required as a part of the codicil to learn the arcane glyph spell or
Yes, and
glyph of warding spell.
yes, and you did
Um,
tell me the reason why. So,
well, it's not just that; it's that it's a resource where it's like everybody pick up a shovel. We're gonna go build a thing,
yeah,
right? Every able-bodied person pick up a shovel. In this case, you are an arcane caster of a certain level, or a caster in general, because that's let's not dissuade the clerics in the group.
yeah,
Of a certain level, cool. You're on ward duty, or today you're using arcane um, or glyph of warding and magic mouth and a couple other things. You're making power lines today. You're making
it's
telephone booths.
yeah, it's kind of like the way how I'd had hoots at the beginning, where the kitchens help repair things and things
Yes.
like that around the town, kind of thing
Mhm.
like that. Yeah,
Exactly the
yeah,
same sort of vibe. Um, I like it because it's a good balance of like you've got really high level adventurers. High level adventurers have high level adventurer problems, and like Callahan's become this like kind of go to for like I need someone of authority to talk to. And it's because he's an evil character.
yeah,
He's inherently selfish, so most of the time he's doing his own thing, kicking
yeah,
around. Ramshackle is often out of the womb, or if he's in the womb, he's doing some shit,
yeah,
and is not um high level wizard battles and high level like adventuring party rivalries are weird because you can get you start hitting 17th, 18th level, you've got options to really screw with somebody. So you're constantly like, all right, I've woke up, I'm casting six different spells on myself to last for the day. The first like hour and a half of my day is ritual casting, and I need to be able to breathe water. I need to be able to have telepathic bonds with everybody around me. Ah, probably gonna need a feather duster. This place is a mess. Like, it's just like, cool. Wake up. I need a bonus to my initiatives. Here's gift of alacrity. Not that's not concentration. Let's cast 8 hours. All right, let's go. Protection from poison. Cool. Let's do this. Coffee. And then they get out of bed,
and then they get out of bed. Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, that's good.
But or like mind shield and things like that, where it's like I need to make sure people aren't constantly scrying on me so I don't get
Yeah.
like shot with a crossbow in the shitter.
There's just
Oh,
one guy that just tries to like who just tries to scry on him every day. And it's just like,
yes.
God damn it.
Yes. Well, and the thing is teleportation magic exists.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like, "Oh, all right, we're ready. He's at his most vulnerable. We're all gonna teleport in and oh shoot him while he's on the shitter. What if there's not enough room? Shut your mouth."
Doesn't matter if you get stuck in the wall, shoot.
Exactly. So that's a thing.
And
But
with that, I think that's a good point to end our stream tonight.
that's a that's an excellent tagline for the DM chat is teleportation magic. enables getting shot on the shitter with a crossbow.
Just
Cool.
the descriptions at the bottom of when we get to podcasts and stuff like that is just like Riley and James talk about being shot on the shitter.
Yeah. You know, and that's something else that we had looked at is whether the DM chats make it over to that or if we keep it as a kind of like live audience sort of thing. But
And you know what?
yeah,
I mean, oh yeah. I mean, there's so many different things we can do.
exactly. But thank you everybody for tuning in. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 people kicking around. The
Hello.
Twitch thing looks weird, but thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you in a week plus. Yeah,
Yeah.
just over a week for the following Monday. So thank you, sir, for taking the time. It's
And
always
thank
a
you,
pleasure.
sir.
Beautiful beard win, indeed. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you make with that Zaku.
Yes. Well, I mean, I already built them.
That's fair. Oh, you the way you placed him on the box, it looked like he was on the
He
box.
was actually on the box, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I got a Wing Zero,
Oh, nice.
original, not the Endless Waltz one, in the
Mm,
box back there that I gotta put together. But
yeah.
that requires finding an hour or 2 of personal time to just sit here over a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an
I
abundance of it right now, so I mean,
look, you're a single guy, it's okay. I understand.
yeah.
Cool. I will be in touch and thank you
Yeah.
all for stopping by. If you get the opportunity, please check out our Tiltify, our
Yes,
fundraiser.
please.
And on the 22nd, we're gonna be playing live in the D6 space. So very akin to
Tell
what
your
happened in December.
friends.
Tell your friends. Come out and play some D&D with us. Not
Yeah.
with us specifically. We're gonna be locked in a production room with bright lights and cameras, and you can check us out on Twitch.
But you might be able to find me on Friday hosting a game, and you might be able to find Melissa on Sunday hosting a game.
Maybe so. We'll see how
Maybe
it
so.
goes.
And I don't know about Mac or David. Who knows?
You know, it depends. But thank you very much for stopping by, and you all have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.